In my opinion, a truly sharp person is not determined by their school grades or a fancy title. Those kinds of measures quickly fade as times change. You probably have people like that around you, don't you? They've read difficult books and have a wealth of knowledge, yet for some reason their stories don't quite connect. When you consult them about a problem you're facing, all you get back is a by-the-book, correct-sounding argument that doesn't resonate in your heart at all. On the other hand, there are people who may not have a formal education, but you feel they are genuinely sharp. Where on earth does this difference come from? To put it plainly, true intelligence lies not in the amount of knowledge, but in how it is used, how wisdom is put to work. Knowledge is just a tool. The power to discern when, where, for whom, and how to use that tool is what I believe to be true intelligence. This time I will share 5 characteristics of truly sharp people, unrelated to their academic background, that I have noticed from observing people for a long time. If even one of these applies to you, please listen with the thought that it is proof of the wonderful wisdom sleeping within you that you have yet to realize. The first is to know oneself and never get angry. I have been involved with many different people in my life, and the more capable a person is, the more incredibly humble they are. Conversely, the less capable a person is, the more they overflow with confidence, and many have an attitude as if they are the best. A truly sharp person, precisely because they are sharp, understands that there is always someone better. A person who truly knows things feels in their bones just how much they do not know in this world, and how many people are superior to them. It is by knowing the vastness of the ocean that one realizes they are but a single drop. That is why they naturally become humble and never lose their attitude of wanting to learn from others. Conversely, to think you are better than others based on a little knowledge or experience is a very dangerous sign. It means that if your own ruler is short, you cannot measure the breadth and depth of the world. It is like trying to measure the ocean with a 1-liter box. You end up thinking that the small world that fits within your box is everything. The moment a person is satisfied thinking, "I am already capable enough, there is nothing more to learn," their progress comes to a complete halt. If you feel you are falling into this trap first, you should open up to someone you trust and honestly ask them, "What do you think I am lacking?" And I believe it is crucial to always have a mind that doubts yourself, thinking, "My own ideas are never absolutely correct." The second characteristic of a sharp person is that they have a habit of doubting common sense. The world is full of obvious things that, at some point, no one questions anymore. However, a truly intelligent person has a habit of thinking that fundamentally re-examines that obvious, asking, "Is that really so?" I have always said this to those around me. Common sense will one day become nonsense. The right answer is not in the textbook. Always doubt common sense with your own head. This is difficult without training. However, a truly sharp person can do this naturally. It is because they understand in their head that common sense is nothing more than a collection of past successful experiences. And you know, precisely because they have the power to doubt common sense, they do not see the events before them as separate individual things, but rather try to find the common thread that runs through them. That is the third characteristic. Sharp people are good at finding commonalities. For example, in a store, only a very small fraction of the many products available sell well. In school, it is only a few people in the class who lead the events. These are different stories, but both can be explained by the same thread: that the overall outcome is greatly influenced by a small number of factors. Well, this is called the Pareto principle, and many things in the world follow this 80-20 rule. They find the common principle behind individual things. A truly sharp person is good at this. They are skilled at connecting experiences from completely different worlds as if building a bridge. I myself was once struggling with the layout of machinery in a factory, when an executive got a hint from the flow of a large river and came up with the idea of a production line where things flow without stagnation. The laws of nature and the management of a factory seem completely different, but at their roots there is a common principle. If you want to train this ability, it would be good to make it a habit to usually think, "This is similar to something else." Try thinking about what ramen and a hot pot have in common. They're warm, the taste varies by region, and they're fun when enjoyed with everyone. At first, try to find commonalities in such a playful way. This training will make your mind surprisingly flexible. Even when teaching children, don't decide that there is only one answer, but search together, asking, "What other ideas are there?" By doing so, knowledge does not end as isolated points, but spreads out to become lines and surfaces. Now, shall we move on to the next characteristic? The fourth is the ability to perceive what is in the other person's heart before they put it into words. In school studies, this kind of ability is not highly valued. However, I believe that in the real world, this is the more important kind of intelligence. To move people and accomplish things, you cannot start without understanding the human heart. A wise person can sense from the other person's tone of voice, their pace of speech, or a subtle change in their expression, this person is not convinced right now, or they are actually feeling anxious. This is not simply a matter of being kind or considerate. If it seems the other person does not understand, you might think, perhaps the analogy was a bit difficult, and change your approach by saying, "To put it another way." If they are nervous, you tell a joke to lighten the mood. A person who can change their response to match the other person's emotional or knowledge level, I feel that such a person is truly sharp. However, there are times when understanding people's feelings too well can be exhausting. You get dragged down by the other person's sadness or anger, and your own heart gets tired. Your own axis can waver, and you might end up doing as the other person says. That is why what is important is to maintain a sense of emotional distance, where you can empathize with the other person but ultimately make a calm judgment. Empathize, but do not become one with them. That sense of balance is what can be called mature intelligence. Finally, the fifth characteristic is that they take a long time to think. In the world, it is often thought that the faster a person's mind works, the smarter they are. They answer instantly when asked a question. They are the first to give an opinion in a meeting. Certainly that at first glance appears brilliant, but a truly sharp person is not like that. Rather, they take their time to think before giving an answer. Because they think for a long time, their answer becomes deeper. They can dig down to a level that is overlooked in short-term thinking. When I was still young, the executives were fiercely debating about how to expand a factory. "We should build it right now." "No, it's still too early." While everyone was rushing, one of the executives silently continued to think for a whole week. He considered not just the factory's numbers, but the lives of the people working there, the trends of our business partners, and even the flow of society 10 years into the future, pondering each one. And the conclusion he reached was, right now, we should prioritize expanding and educating our people. That decision later became a major turning point that solidified the company's foundation. Seeing that, I learned that a truly sharp person has the power to think things through rather than just being quick. Now I have talked about 5 characteristics so far. Finally, one important thing. Please absolutely stop thinking that you are not smart. Among the many people I have seen, those who believe they can become smarter and work towards it have actually improved their abilities. This is because when the brain operates on the premise that I am smart, it unconsciously starts to gather the information necessary to become smarter. Try chanting in your heart, "I want to become smarter." It might feel embarrassing at first, but that self-suggestion becomes a warning that you cannot stay as you are. That warning gives you the power to pick up a new book, to listen intently to what people say, and to try to overcome the person you were yesterday. What is important is not your test scores or your memory. It is the attitude of engaging with people, having questions, thinking, making mistakes, and continuing to correct them. That very attitude is what shapes true intelligence. The intelligence sleeping within you will surely awaken, and it is never too late, not even from this very moment. Please do your best.